Hello, friend. This is Chris Ringler, your friendly neighborhood spooky Chris. How are you? It's been a minute, hasn't it? It's been more than like what, a minute and 18 seconds. It's been a while. I think July was the last podcast. So, and I miss doing it. And for anyone that would care, I'm sorry I don't do it more often. But you live the life you got ahead of you and such. And this is the time I got. So I am Chris Ringler. This is my podcast. You can find all my podcasts at spookychris.com. I am an author, an occasional filmmaker, a reviewer, a ne'er-do-well. And today I'm going to talk about film festivals. I think, well, most folks, and I never know if anyone listens to these. So hi, if you're listening. Nice to meet you. How are you? Go to my bookstore and buy a book. I could use the sales. Most folks don't know that I have had a hand in putting on film festivals for a minute now. With a different organization, the Flint Horror Collective. We did a couple there. In my second year as the Flint Monster Society doing this, and before that, when the Flint Horror Collective was a convention, every year we did a convention. We would show films. It was essentially a festival, and we never really called it that. But essentially, it was a film festival. So I've had I've done this a little bit, and just I've thought I'd talk about the whole thing for a few minutes. Film festivals are interesting when you get down to it, because you gotta, as a filmmaker, and I've made a couple movies, and just random things, but. As a filmmaker, as a creative, what you want more than anything is for someone to experience your work. As a writer, I want people to read my stuff. Now, obviously, we all want to make money and make a living at being creative. If you're a filmmaker, you want to make a living as a director or an actor or whatever. If you're an artist in the physical mediums, then you want to make a living at it, however that is. Same goes with short filmmakers. They want to make a living at it. That's the whole point. They're trying to break into the business, basically, for lack of a better term. And that's the end goal. It's fun to make them, and there's a ton of us, folks like me, and just like a lot of us out there that are doing it for the love of it. Me personally, so I'll just go with me personally. I love to tell stories. I'm a storyteller. So I enjoy telling the stories, and the movies are another way to do that. Sometimes I would do it with art, with photography, with whatever. And the whole point is just to tell stories for me. And again, of course, I want to make money at this. I would love to. I think all of us could use some extra dough. That's just how this is. None of us tend to make, enough, because there's always that fear of losing your job or whatever, or illness, all that stuff. But the reality is that most of us aren't going to make a living at what we do. I'm not going to make a living at being a creative, a fiction writer. It just doesn't seem like it's in the cards. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to keep trying to get my work out there, because I feel like there's an audience out there for what I do, and I'm going to keep at it. And I'm going to, it's kind of the whole believing yourself thing is I'm not going to give up on myself. So I keep doing it. And so with indie filmmakers, you want to do this professionally. And even if it's just for the love of it. Like, you want people to see it and to experience it. Well, that's where film festivals come in. On one hand, the hope is that the right people will see it, and it will serve as a calling card, and that you can, parlay that into something else. I know someone who he doesn't quite make a living at it, but he makes enough making movies that he can keep making movies. And frankly, the older I've gotten and the more I've seen of all this kind of stuff, that's pretty amazing. To have people that are like, I will pay for you to make this, You're not necessarily going to make a ton of money yourself, but we are going to get this movie made, and you're going to make it. That's pretty great, and it's rare. The good thing about something like self-publishing is that it's not as much overhead. You're only essentially relying on yourself, and if you have an editor or an artist or whatever involved, like it's a very small amount of people. A film, usually there's a lot more people involved, so it's a lot more mouths to feed, as it were. And being on both sides of the camera, there are, and I've talked about it kind of in the past too. There's a bit of a compact, an agreement that's unstated. There are tons of people who are more than willing to donate their time, to offer it, to be in your movie, to work on your movie. And to me, the only thing is you have to finish it, and you got to not waste their time. So you don't want to show up on set and not know what the heck you're doing and not know what your plan is. Even if you're just kind of making up as you go along, you should know, like, okay, we need to do this, this, this. Don't show up and be like, because time on a set, like, really, it's funny because it moves at two speeds. It goes real fast, like, but it also drags. And if you're waiting to shoot your stuff or to be involved, it drags real slowly. And you don't want to waste people's time. They were kind enough to find time in their lives, and the older we get, the less time we have, because I think we start to realize kind of how precious time is. And you don't want to waste that gift that they're giving you. So you want to know what you're doing, and you want to go on set, and then you got to finish it. It's not fair if you're not paying these people. And again, you can get into like, well, everyone should be paid. Absolutely. In a perfect world, everyone should be paid. It shouldn't, and definitely you've got to, like, if you're just doing it for the passion of it, and if you sell one here or there, whatever, I'm not going to, whatever, who cares? It's the thing where you're like, oh no, I intend to make money off of your work, and that's what this is. This is my money-making kind of scheme, and I'm going to make money off of your work, and I'm not going to pay you anything. I'll get you a pizza once in a while. That's not cool. That's not ethical. Because you're trying to pretend that you're a professional and that you want everyone else to act professional, but you're not treating them like professionals at that point then. So there's a lot of people that will donate their time and stuff. And again, like, that's cool. It's just you have to be cool. You have to be cool with them, and you have to treat them professionally and treat them like people. But everybody wants their works to be seen. If they've been in a movie, if they made the movie. And, and the fact is that there's only so many opportunities. There's not a lot of places. You can have your own little premiere if you can find a place. But the whole fun is doing it not in someone's bedroom, not someone's basement, not, doing it at a place, doing it formally and inviting people and celebrating, frankly, because this is really, again, having done a couple shorts, it can be, having done a couple shorts and having been involved in other ones, they don't always get finished. And that's such a drag, and it's such a bummer. So celebrating that accomplishment that you all had is part of it, and it's great. But the fact is that there's not a lot of opportunities to show these things. And again, it'd be fantastic if we could get these in Sundance and huge film festivals, genre or mainstream or whatever, just so more and more people would see them, because that's a better opportunity for people who are with power to want to work with you or to reach out professionally. And the fact is that small film festivals like I've put on, don't offer that really. We're in Flint is not a small town, but it's not a big city. And there's not a lot of opportunity that you're going to have someone that has the power and the influence and the bankroll that they're going to be like, I am looking for you to do this. But that doesn't mean you don't want people to see it. And there's a point too where it's good to have it accepted in the festivals, because most festivals, even if I was like, I'm accepting every movie I get, you still accepted it. You still chose their movie. anymore. I have to be more conscious of what I'm trying to do with my film festival, and kind of the audience and the venue, because it's an all ages venue. So I definitely don't want to show stuff that they would frown on, and not want shown there. But there are hard choices to make, and you can't accept every movie. This year I got, oh my gosh, over 10, 12, 15 hours worth of movies. Over 100 movies were entered of varying lengths, and that's, I don't have that much time, and some just aren't what I'm looking for. I applaud anybody that can finish a movie, and I've seen some stuff where I'm like, "Whoa, you finished it, good for you." And I've shown stuff that's just like, if it weren't just so weird and like out of left field, I may not have shown it. But again, I want to show stuff that, well, yeah, let's get into that. What do I want to show? I want to show stuff that shows the breadth of horror, that shows like the variety of ways to tell the story, that capture different ways to tell stories. I want to show stuff internationally if I can, and I have, because that's what's really fascinating, is you see how the rest of the world views horror and how they tell stories. I want to I want to show scary stuff. I want to show funny stuff. I want to show things that people aren't seeing in this area. I try to show a broad range of topics and subjects and all kinds of stuff, and try to get a lot of different voices for a lot of different types of people. And that's where I come from. And, everybody, the folks we offer prizes, and the top prize is $100. So it's not like it's a lot, and I know that. It is what it is, and $100 is $100. It's not like it's not nothing for top prize, but it's not, not gonna come blow your socks off. But still, it looks good on your resume to have all of these festivals accepting your film, because then you start, like, people will start noticing that, like, oh gosh, this has been accepted in 50 festivals. Like, that says something. Like, I should check this out. So it does help, and it does mean something, because that will get attention. That will get eyes on your project, where someone may not be at that festival or at a festival to see your film. If they have an opportunity and, they're submitted to people, or, it serves as a calling card to some degree. If you can show on there, like, oh yeah, like, we've shown at, again, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 festivals, or I've won awards at these festivals. It brings eyes and it brings attention, because, again, they want, like, what's going on with this? I'm curious. Like, I want to know. What this must be something special. And you can start to get websites, horror websites, to want to show these. And again, it's a way to get more eyes on your work and more interest. And that's what it's about. You hope people are able to feel good about the movie they made, and as good as you're going to feel. You're always like, oh, I wish I could have done this. I could have done that better. There's always a million regrets on anything you create, because you see what you could have done and what you didn't do. So that's just natural. But the hope is that they're happy about what, having it done, and that it's out there, and they're going to support your festival in that they're like, hey man, we're in this festival. That's what I hope. That'd be great, because you don't want, and I struggle with this right now as I'm gathering the movies in, is you'll have people, and I do understand, is that 99.5% of these folks aren't making movies professionally. So they have day jobs, they have lives, they have other things going on, but it sucks when you're trying to reach out to people to get their movies in, to get all the deliverables, and they're not responding, and it's like time's ticking, and you're like, oh, okay, I gotta know one way or t'other, like, are you in or are you out? Because I gotta put this thing together. Today I just sent out the last. I had sent out the acceptance stuff the other day. I finally went through and I picked all those. The system I use is a website called Film Freeway, and Film Freeway allows you to flag movies in different ways and kind of tag them so you can kind of know, like, I go red, yellow, green. Like, yes, maybe, no. Easy system. And that's just I think that's the easiest way for me to keep track of everything, so that when all is said and done, I can go back and all the greens I can, okay, cool. Like, I look through and make sure and see what the time, how much, if I have too many movies or whatever, and then I send them a notification that they have been accepted into the film festival, so they've been selected. And then today I was sending out the ones that were not selected, and it's a huge bummer, and I hate it. Even the movies I think are just awful, I feel terrible about, because I've submitted to places, and I've only been shown in one festival. And I don't even bother to submit anymore because these are movies that are a few years old, and most places don't want older movies. I love both movies. I think, especially having seen a bunch of stuff, I think they're both better than some of the things I've gotten and seen, and they're not as good as a lot of the stuff I've gotten because I just, I'm not at that level. But I'm always bummed when I can't show all the stuff because I feel bad. Because I know what it's like to be disappointed, and I'm not at all saying that there's people that are like, man, that was the one, gosh, I wish I could have gotten in this Flint Film Festival thing. It's not that at all. It's that it's always a bummer when you get rejected. And I've been rejected a ton in every aspect. So I understand. And I try to write a little letter and just kind of show my appreciation. But I get it. You're just like, no. You can be like, you were great. I wish you the best, blah, 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 blah. It still says no. So you don't care. It's like, cool, thanks. It said no. That's kind of all I needed. And in the past, I've had folks that are like, can you tell me what you didn't like or what, and it's rough because it's, but like I understand why they're doing it. So they would like to know, what can I do better? And I've been to festivals, and as a fan, it is great to sample all of this stuff that you won't see otherwise. That's what's and that's why it always drives me crazy is that, for my little festival, I don't get huge turnouts, and it's such a bummer, because I just there's a lot to show folks, and you don't get the opportunity to see kind of so much of this stuff, and it's such a drag that people don't realize that, and that we don't appreciate that. Not everything is, and not even to sidetrack, but like, I love Marvel movies and big blockbusters and stuff, and I like art house movies, and it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating to see big, large-scaled short films. Wes Anderson just released some on Netflix. You see those, and then you see kind of stuff that like me and my friends have done, where it's a bunch of people donating their time and just using the stuff they have around, and they're just doing something for fun. And it's it's literally looking at a tiny home and looking at a 50,000 square foot mansion, and that tiny home could be the nicest place someone ever lived, and that mansion could be a dump, and vice versa. I've seen so many amazing short films. There's one we show, like anytime I get a chance to show people. There's a short film we got ages ago, like in 2013, called Decapoda Shock. Decapoda, second word Shock. Decapoda Shock. And it is a foreign film, and it's amazing, about an astronaut who is bitten by a space crab, because I think it's a crab, but he turns into a lobster, but he's a lobster man, and they have a lobster man outfit. And the short has action, it has animation, it has weird stuff, it has voiceover. It's the weirdest movie, and it is amazing. And it is a crowd, like literally a crowd pleaser. Anytime I've ever shown folks, they just are like, what is this? I love it. And that is the thing, is there are so many of these movies, and it's a drag that more people don't see them. And again, in a world of social media, word of mouth does matter. So if a bunch of people see the movie called Movie X, and they're posting on social media and they're tagging movie X short or whatever they tag with. And it gets out there as more and more people see it and stuff. It starts getting some attention. It can get discovered in whatever way that is, whatever that means. It can be discovered, and that's awesome. And that's whatever that leads to. We all hope it leads to something. And I love doing these festivals. It's hard. It's hard getting through that many short films. Just time-wise, it is very difficult to get through when you have a job and a family and your own pursuits and stuff to get through all this. But it's cool and it's neat to see all this stuff. And it's such a drag not to be able to accept all of these movies. It's just it's killer. But people may absolutely disagree with the movies you choose, absolutely. But you chose the movies that meant something to you and to your festival and said something to you. And that's what matters. And I think people should go to more film festivals. They are, they're where the next professionals are or the next talented fan. And some of these are expensive and this and that, like ours is free. Because I know that there's not a huge demand. And as far as my philosophy with events has been, like for this kind of event, is I'm not paying for the space. So I'm not trying to make $1 off of someone. Only thing I ever want is to, make back any kind of investment I have if I can. But I'm not trying to get rich off of this stuff. I just want to put more events on. And I'm willing to spend my own money to do it, which then you're kind of like, and there is a point where you're like, well, if I'm paying to throw myself a surprise party and no one comes, then maybe I need to take a hint. So there is a point where it's diminishing returns and you're like, okay, I want this to work. It's not working. Maybe I just let it go. And I've had that in all of my creative endeavors. And I'm sure anybody who's ever been creative has that same kind of a thing. Like, well, nobody wants it, so why am I doing this? But I love putting them on. I absolutely take it seriously. I put weird humor into things. I try to have fun with it. Because I'd like to think that the people, submitting to this film festival that's called the Short Film Freakout, I'd like to think that they kind of have at least some sense of humor, as long as they're not being made fools of and you're not showing stuff like, I'm going to show you the worst movies I could ever find. If it's not that kind of a deal, if you're like, no, I'm doing this sincerely, I am intentional in doing this, I'm just trying to have fun, I think people will have fun with you. And that's what it's about. And I hope you are able to find a film festival out there. Like I say, they're great, and it's something special to be able to take, to see those, and it's worth the time and effort. And I look forward to putting mine on. And that's where I'm at. I hope you are well, my friends. I am an author, a filmmaker, a reviewer. It's been fascinating. I've gotten a lot of traffic on some of the weird found footage movies I've reviewed lately, and it's just fascinating because it's just like one of them kind of blew up, and I wonder if the filmmakers know, because it's a decent movie. Oh my gosh, and I can't even tell you what the name of it is off the top of my head, which is really shameful. But like, I've gotten a lot of run on my website for it, which is fascinating. I have a lot of books on my website, spookychris.com. Check them out. All my podcasts are there. Hopefully you are well. If you look up spookychris.com or Chris Ringler or Spooky Chris, whatever, my podcast is out on, it's aggregated to some degree. So you can find me if you liked this one. I will talk to you later.